In the bustling urban sprawl of a vibrant city known as Harmonville, where the intoxicating sound of honking cars blended seamlessly with the joyful laughter of children playing in the park, the atmosphere was alive with a cacophony that mirrored the vibrant colors of a Jackson Pollock painting. This lively city teemed with energy. Street vendors hawked their wares, couples strolled hand in hand, and the aroma of street food wafted through the air, tantalizing the senses. Amidst this vivacious backdrop, there stood a distinguished courthouse, a grand edifice that rose majestically above the surrounding buildings, embodying stability and integrity. This imposing structure, with its gleaming white walls that caught the sunlight and reflected it like a beacon, served as a stoic sentinel of justice, a place where the principles of law and order were upheld. Within the hallowed halls of this courthouse, a figure of immense authority presided over the proceedings, a stern-faced judge named Mr. Jason McPhelps. With an air of gravitas, his presence commanded respect from all who entered his courtroom. Clad in traditional black robes, he sat at the elevated bench, his sharp gaze scanning the faces before him as if to penetrate the very souls of those who stood trial. Mr. McPhelps ruled over his legal domain with an unwavering hand, epitomizing the virtues of fairness and impartiality. His decisions were characterized by clarity and decisiveness. They were swift and sure, executed with a confidence that underscored his deep understanding of the law and its implications. The rhythmic sound of his gavel striking the wooden bench served as a metronome, keeping time to the heartbeat of the city's legal system. Each rap echoed through the courtroom, instilling both a sense of urgency and an acknowledgement of the gravity of the matters at hand. As cases unfolded, the air became thick with tension. The stakes were high, and the outcomes could change lives forever. In this arena of justice, Mr. McPhelps was not just a facilitator of legal procedures. He was a guardian of the community's moral compass. He took his responsibilities seriously, often staying long into the evening to ensure that every case received the careful consideration it deserved. As he navigated the complexities of the law, balancing the scales of justice with the compassion inherent in his role, he remained a stalwart figure, a bridge between the chaos of life outside the courthouse and the structured realm of legal proceedings within. In Harmonville, where the daily rhythm was filled with both joy and strife, Judge McPhelps stood as a resolute protector of the rules that governed their lives, a keeper of order amid the beautiful chaos that was their city. On a particularly hectic Monday, that distinct sense of chaos seemed to envelop the air in the courthouse, buzzing with the myriad sounds of voices, footsteps, and the occasional sound of gavel strikes echoing off the walls. It was on this bustling day that a case was brought before Judge McPhelps, whose reputation for fairness preceded him. The case was as common as rain in April, a plain traffic violation, but it carried with it a slew of untold stories and personal ramifications. As the courtroom door creaked open, a frazzled yet poised black lady named Ms. Sylvia Wulzer stepped gingerly inside, her presence drawing the attention of a few courtroom bystanders. Her expressive eyes betrayed a mix of apprehension and resolve, widening slightly as she surveyed the room, absorbing the gravity of her situation. Dressed in an ensemble that reflected life's trials, her attire bore the marks of someone who had endured their fair share of hardship. Each worn thread of her blouse told a tale of resilience, while her shoes, scuffed at the toes, whispered stories of long journeys taken and the steps still to come. Carrying a bulging purse that seemed to sag under the weight of her world, Ms. Wulzer walked with a slight slouch, as if the burden of daily life pressed heavily upon her shoulders. As she approached the plaintiff's table, the citation in question, merely a simple parking infraction in the eyes of many, loomed large in her mind. To others, the ticket was just another fine to be paid, a fleeting inconvenience in the rhythm of suburban life. But to Ms. Woolzer, it represented much more than that. The hefty fine she faced was, in her eyes, not just an administrative penalty, but a profound intrusion into her fragile financial balance. It was roughly equivalent to a week's worth of groceries, an amount that might keep her pantry stocked with essential provisions or the vital funds she desperately needed for a doctor's appointment that had already been postponed more than once. For Ms. Woolzer, this was no mere infraction. It was a significant hurdle, a potential setback that could ripple through her already strained existence. As she stood before the judge, the weight of her financial reality collided with the formalities of the legal system, a stark reminder of how the mundane aspects of life, like parking, could lead to larger implications for those already navigating difficult circumstances. The courtroom, often a place of justice and order, became a crucible where her fears, hopes, and struggles were laid bare, illustrating the broader societal issues that often accompanied traffic violations and financial distress. Each moment in that courtroom had the power to alter not just the course of her day, but the trajectory of her life. The judge peered over his spectacles, the thin silver frames catching the light as they perched precariously on the bridge of his nose. His brow furrowed in contemplation as he observed the trembling defendant before him, a picture of anxiety and uncertainty. "Ms. Woolzer," he intoned, his voice steady yet firm, "do you have anything to say before I pass judgment?" In the hushed courtroom, a palpable tension hung in the air, punctuated only by the soft rustle of papers and the barely audible whispers of onlookers. The atmosphere was heavy with anticipation. Everyone present knew the gravity of the moment. With a deep, shaky breath, Ms. Woolzer gathered what strength she could muster, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Her voice emerged, fragile and tremulous, as soft as a whisper on a summer evening, yet it somehow resonated with the sincerity of her plea. "Your Honor," she began, her words laced with a mixture of desperation and resolve, "I am a social worker, devoted to serving those who have been cast aside by society. My work often takes me to the most destitute parts of our city, where hope is a scarce currency and despair reigns." She paused for a moment, her eyes lowering as she recalled that harrowing day. "That day," she continued, her voice steadier now, "I had stopped to help a family in need. A desperate single mother with 3 children and an eviction notice clutched tightly in her trembling hand. I couldn't just walk by. I couldn't turn my back on their plight. In my heart, I believed it was worth the risk." Her gaze flickered up to meet the judge's, vulnerability etched into her features. "I didn't intend to break the law, but I had no choice. There was a child crying, a mother losing hope, and in that moment I felt compelled to act. I thought of the possibilities, of every life I could touch that day, and I made a decision born out of compassion." As her words filled the courtroom, there was a profound silence, as if time itself had paused to grant her the dignity of this moment. She could see the judge's expression softening, though the sternness of his role weighed heavily upon him. Each person present could sense the conflict within the judge's heart, between the rigid constraints of the law and the raw, unvarnished reality of human compassion unfolding before him. Judge McPhelps leaned back in his chair, his expression resolute and unyielding as he looked down at the papers before him. The courtroom, usually filled with a myriad of voices and legalese, fell silent as he delivered his verdict. Intentions don't fill the city's coffers. The law must be upheld. I hereby fine you $500. His voice was firm, consonants crisp as they echoed off the cold, sterile walls, leaving no room for the faintest glimmer of leniency. Ms. Wulzer's shoulders slumped as if the weight of the world had suddenly settled upon her, an invisible burden that threatened to drag her down into despair. With a heavy heart, she nodded solemnly, her eyes downcast. There was an air of resignation about her. She had fought hard to make her case, yet the ruthless machinery of justice had ground her down, indifferent to her struggles. As she turned to leave, her mind swirling with thoughts of how she would come up with the money, she felt the tension in the room shift. Strangely enough, as Judge McPhelps observed her retreating figure, something deep within him stirred. An unexpected flicker of curiosity ignited in the judge's heart. This was a rare occurrence in his otherwise no-nonsense world. Known for his strict adherence to the law, he seldom allowed emotions to cloud his judgment, yet there was something about Ms. Wulzer that intrigued him. She professed to be a social worker, dedicated to the welfare of others, someone who had clearly dedicated her life to serving the community around her. And yet, here she stood before him, a woman who had sacrificed so much for the sake of others, yet found herself unable to pay a seemingly simple fine. Judge McPhelps couldn't help but wonder how a person so devoted to their cause could be caught in such a mundane trap of debt. What stories lay hidden behind her tired eyes? Was she overwhelmed by the very system she sought to improve? He found his thoughts racing back to the many cases he had presided over, each one a tangled web of complications, but this one felt different. Perhaps it was the palpable exhaustion etched onto Ms. Wulzer's face, or the way she had passionately articulated her struggles in court. For a fleeting moment, the stern facade that he meticulously maintained began to crack. Just as he was about to refocus on the next case, an idea sparked in his mind, and he pondered whether there might be a way to connect with her, to understand her story better. Perhaps there was more he could do than merely uphold the law. Perhaps a rare opportunity existed for him to lend a hand to someone in dire need, someone who sought to uplift the very fabric of their community. As his gavel struck the desk to call the next case, Judge McPhelps felt a twinge of hope. The law was important, yes, but so too was compassion. He realized that perhaps it was time for him to look beyond the black and white of the legal code and consider the shades of gray that colored human lives. Days passed in a blur, but Judge McPhelps found himself unable to shake the lingering image of Ms. Wulzer from his mind, a vision that seemed to grow clearer with each passing moment. Her distinct features were etched into his memory, her penetrating gaze full of passion and determination. It was as if she had imprinted herself onto his thoughts, and he couldn't help but bear a sense of curiosity about this enigmatic woman, whose presence had stirred something within him. One evening, seeking a distraction from his relentless contemplation, Judge McPhelps settled into his favorite armchair with a steaming cup of coffee beside him. He flipped through the pages of the local newspaper, the Harmonville Herald, scanning the headlines and articles. Each one faded into the background until one particular piece caught his eye, an article entitled "The City's Unsung Hero." Intrigued, he leaned closer, his heart racing as he began to read. The article told the story of a remarkable social worker named Sylvia Wulzer. The narrative painted a vivid picture of her tireless efforts and incredible dedication to the welfare of the community. It elaborated on how she had unwaveringly devoted herself to turning the lives of countless families around, helping them navigate the challenges posed by poverty, addiction, and abuse. As he read on, Judge McPhelps was struck by the description of her methods. Sylvia was renowned for her unconventional approaches, often bending the rules and navigating the complexities of the system in order to serve those who needed support the most. The article detailed how she had advocated for families facing eviction, facilitated access to crucial resources, and even pursued legal action when necessary, all while maintaining a deep connection with those she assisted. McPhelps felt a swell of admiration for Sylvia Woolzer, a woman devoted to championing the voiceless and helping the forgotten. Her name seemed to reverberate in his mind as he read about the lives she had touched and the positive changes she had inspired in her community. The juxtaposition of her compassion and the legal confines she often found herself navigating intrigued him. How did she balance empathy with the need to adhere to regulations, and what truly motivated her to push boundaries? Suddenly, an idea sparked within the judge. He thought about the cases he ruled on and the impact he could have. What if he were to meet this unsung hero? Surely there was more to learn from her experiences, an opportunity to collaborate for the greater good. As he finished the article, a sense of purpose washed over him, propelling him to seek out Sylvia Woolzer, the social worker who had already begun to change his perspective on justice, community, and the human spirit. The article provided an in-depth account of Ms. Woolzer's remarkable dedication and relentless efforts to uplift a homeless family that had been living in a van that was barely holding together. The family consisted of a single mother and her 3 young children who had been navigating the harsh realities of life on the streets. Ms. Woolzer's mission went far beyond merely providing shelter. She secured them a permanent home, offering the family a safe and stable environment to rebuild their lives. But her commitment didn't stop there. Understanding the critical importance of education, she fought tooth and nail to ensure that the children were admitted to the best schools in the area. She recognized that education could be their ticket to a brighter future, where opportunities would be available to them instead of the cycle of poverty they had been enduring. Moreover, Ms. Woolzer advocated passionately for the mother, urging her to enter a comprehensive rehabilitation program that would provide the support she needed to overcome the challenges she faced. Her heartfelt actions and unwavering dedication to this family had created a significant ripple effect within the community. As news of her work spread, it inspired others to take action, fostering a spirit of hope and change among residents. People began to look more closely at the struggles of those less fortunate and considered ways they could contribute to making a difference. Meanwhile, the judge sat mulling over his past decisions. He felt a pang of guilt wash over him as he reflected on the cases he had presided over, focused solely on the legal aspects without acknowledging the human stories behind them. He realized that in the pursuit of justice, he had overlooked the very essence of compassion that should accompany the law. With a renewed sense of purpose, he made a decision. He would seek out Ms. Woolzer, intrigued by her impact on the lives of the family and compelled to understand her motivations. Perhaps, by learning about her journey and the significance of her work, he could find a path to atone for his earlier missteps and, in doing so, reconnect with the human side of his judicial responsibilities. He found Ms. Woolzer in the heart of Harmonville's most impoverished neighborhood, an area that many had long forgotten. Her office was a small, cluttered room that bore the marks of an unrelenting struggle. A single, flickering fluorescent light hung overhead, casting a cold glow on the scenes of urgent activity that surrounded her. The walls, however, told a different story. They were adorned with vibrant drawings created by the very children she had dedicated herself to helping, their innocent smiles and colorful scribbles capturing joy and hope that stood in stark contrast to the harsh reality of the world outside. As Judge McPhelps stepped inside, he could feel the weight of the environment pressing upon him. The flickering light and disheveled surroundings spoke volumes about the sacrifices Ms. Walzer made daily amidst the struggles of those she served. It was clear that this wasn't just an office for her. It was a sanctuary, a beacon of hope for children who faced unimaginable hardship. "Ms. Walzer," he began, his voice gruff yet imbued with a newfound respect and humility. "I am Judge McPhelps." He took a moment to gauge her reaction, noting the flicker of recognition in her eyes, though her face remained uncertain. It was a name that had echoed through the halls of the courthouse, often accompanied by heated discussions about her unconventional methods and the challenges she faced in her mission. Ms. Walzer looked up from her paperwork, her brow furrowing slightly as she processed the unexpected visitor. "How may I help you, Judge?" she inquired, her tone professional yet warm, embodying the resilience that had become her trademark in the face of adversity. With an air of gravity, he continued, "I read about your work in the newspaper. The article detailed the various initiatives you've launched to support the children in this neighborhood, the programs you fought to keep alive despite the odds stacked against you. I wanted to take this moment to apologize for the fine I levied against you. It seems I was hasty in my judgment." The weight of his words hung in the air, and for a brief moment there was silence. Ms. Walzer's expression shifted, a mixture of surprise and skepticism flickering across her features. It was rare for someone in his position to acknowledge a misstep, much less to seek forgiveness. Judge McPhelps could sense the mix of emotions swirling within her. The fatigue of endless battles, both with systems designed to suppress and with well-meaning individuals who simply didn't understand the complexities of her work. Gathering her resolve, she placed her pen down and leaned forward, her eyes narrowing with determination. "I appreciate your honesty, Judge, but it's not just about the fine. It's about understanding the challenges we face here every day. The children you see reflected in those drawings deserve our support, not penalties. They deserve to be heard." Judge McPhelps nodded, absorbing her words. This conversation was the start of something new. He had entered her office expecting a confrontation, perhaps even resentment, but instead, he found a chance to bridge the gap between the judiciary and the community it served. A moment where justice could take on a more human form. He realized then that genuine change could emerge only through collaboration, understanding, and a commitment to the lives intertwined with the laws he upheld. Judge McPhelps felt the weight of his words settle heavily on his shoulders. He understood that this encounter was far more significant than merely discussing a fine. It represented a pivotal moment that highlighted the profound responsibility of the legal system to protect and serve the most vulnerable members of society, those who relied on it in their times of need. He took a deep breath, trying to convey sincerity through his tone as he addressed Ms. Walzer. "Ms. Walzer," he began, "I'd like to help. Is there anything specific I can do to assist you in this matter?" Ms. Walzer paused for a moment, weighing her thoughts and reflecting on the pressing issues at hand. After a brief silence, she replied, "There's a community center that's on the verge of being closed down due to severe budget cuts. This facility is critical. It's the only safe and supportive environment for these children to go to after school." Her voice carried a sense of urgency, underscoring the dire consequences that the closure would impose on the youth in the neighborhood. Judge McPhelps nodded, recognition dawning on him as he recalled the establishment she mentioned. "The Whispering Winds Recreational Facility," he murmured, his mind drifting back to memories of the dilapidated structure from his own childhood. He could almost envision the worn playground equipment and the laughter of children echoing through the halls of the community center, which had once been a vibrant hub of activity. "I remember the evenings filled with games and the weekends bustling with laughter and joy. Closing it would mean losing a crucial refuge for those kids, a place where they can learn, play, and grow." As he listened to Ms. Welzer, Judge McPhelps felt a stirring sense of purpose ignite within him. He recognized that the judicial system could not simply be a mechanism for punishment or enforcement of laws. It must also act as a pillar of support for community welfare. "What can we do to save Whispering Winds? Have any proposals been made to the city council or community leaders for funding or support?" he pressed, eager to explore avenues that could lead to a solution. Ms. Welzer's eyes brightened with a hint of hope as she considered his question. "Actually, yes. There's a grassroots initiative starting up, aimed at rallying community support and advocating for the center's funding. We've already started gathering signatures and sharing our stories, but we need more voices to be heard." "Then let's amplify those voices," Judge McPhelps asserted decisively. He felt invigorated by the idea of making a tangible difference, of standing alongside those who were fighting for the future of their children. "I can reach out to my contacts within the local government and see if I can help elevate this initiative. Additionally, I can offer my platform to bring awareness to this issue. Together, we can strive to ensure that this center remains open for the children who depend on it." A wave of gratitude washed over Ms. Welzer as she realized the potential impact of the judge's offer. This was not just a chance to save a building, it was an opportunity to protect a safe haven for children, a place where they could learn resilience, create friendships, and nurture dreams. Together, they could ignite a movement that would not only keep Whispering Winds open, but also strengthen the community's bond in the fight for what was rightfully theirs. "Yes, exactly," she said, her voice rising with excitement, a hopeful glint shining in her eye. "If we could keep it open, it would mean the world to these families." Her enthusiasm was palpable, and the weight of her words hung in the air, resonating with everyone present. The judge's stern expression, usually immutable and austere, began to soften as he listened to her passionate plea. He looked around the room at the faces filled with determination and longing, and he felt a stirring within himself. Finally, he nodded firmly, the decision crystallizing in his mind. "Consider it done. I'll pull some strings, make some calls." His voice had a newfound warmth, and he was determined to take action. From that day forward, Judge McPhelps found himself inexplicably drawn into the vibrant world of Ms. Welzer, a remarkable realm defined by resilience, community, and hope, all set against the backdrop of the unforgiving concrete jungle. The atmosphere was filled with laughter, the chatter of children, and the aroma of hearty meals being prepared. It was a place where the struggles of everyday life were met with unwavering spirit. As he became more involved, Judge McPhelps began volunteering at the community center located in the heart of the neighborhood. He helped with homework, guiding the children through math problems, and encouraging them in their reading endeavors. He served steaming hot meals to families who depended on the center not just for nourishment, but for a sense of belonging and support. The hardworking children, full of life and laughter, affectionately coined him Judge McFluffy, a playful moniker that brought joy to both them and him. The name was a delightful contrast to his typically serious demeanor, and it never failed to bring a smile to his face, despite his initial skepticism about the chaotic yet loving environment of the center. He had entered this world thinking he would merely offer assistance, but what he discovered was a profound sense of fulfillment and the powerful impact of community. Each day spent, there was a reminder that even the most hardened of hearts could soften, and that a little kindness could create ripples of positive change. The bond between the unlikely pair grew stronger as they worked side by side, each day uncovering new layers of friendship and understanding. Ms. Walzer, with her vibrant personality and unwavering optimism, took it upon herself to introduce Judge McPhelps to the heart of their community. Together, they visited families like the Brombones, whose small apartment, despite the peeling paint and threadbare couches, radiated warmth and love akin to a cozy campfire on a chilly night. Within those four walls, they shared stories that transcended mere words, narratives of hardship and victory that spoke to the resilience and indomitable spirit of the human condition. Each tale they encountered served as a powerful testament to the strength that resided within the people of Harmonville, a strength that often went unnoticed by the outside world. One rainy afternoon, as the droplets tapped rhythmically against the pavement, they busily painted a mural on the side of the community center, envisioning a more vibrant and hopeful Harmonville. The mural was to symbolize their dreams, filled with bright colors and positive imagery. While adding a splash of gold to the sun they were creating, Judge McPhelps took a moment to reflect, opening up about his feelings for the first time. "You know, I've been a judge for 30 years, but I've never felt like I truly made a difference," he admitted, his voice tinged with sincerity and a hint of regret. His statement hung in the air as Ms. Walzer paused, her brush gently stilling as she absorbed the weight of his words. With a reassuring smile that could light up even the cloudiest of days, Ms. Walzer turned to him. "Judge McPhelps, you've made a difference today," she said emphatically, her eyes sparkling with conviction. "And tomorrow, you'll make another. Every small action counts. It's never too late to change your story." Her words, full of hope and encouragement, resonated deeply within him, igniting a flicker of belief that perhaps, just perhaps, he could indeed have a lasting impact. As they continued their work, the rain began to ease, and the colors of the mural blossomed under the softening sky, just like their burgeoning friendship, symbolizing new beginnings and a shared vision for a brighter future together. Inspired by a profound realization of his role and the impact he could have, Judge McPhelps initiated a series of transformative policies within his courtroom. He recognized that each case presented before him was more than just a set of charges. Each defendant was a person with a unique story, a particular set of circumstances that had led them to this moment. Instead of simply doling out fines that might impose undue hardship, he took the time to engage with the defendants, striving to understand their backgrounds, challenges, and aspirations. This approach allowed him to offer alternatives that could foster rehabilitation rather than punishment. Through his innovative thinking, he began to suggest community service opportunities at the local recreation center, allowing individuals to give back to the community while earning a chance to redeem themselves. As this new philosophy took root, the atmosphere in the courtroom transformed. It buzzed with hope and stories of redemption. Defendants who previously felt lost and forgotten began to share their experiences of personal growth and change as they engaged with the community service opportunities. The city began to take notice, drawn in by the growing narrative of second chances and positive transformations that emanated from Judge McPhelps's courtroom. Word of the judge's inspiring transformation spread through the streets of Harmonville like a catchy melody played by a beloved street musician named Yirnbold PPX. People found themselves humming the praises of Judge McPhelps, whose compassionate and innovative methods had earned him an endearing nickname, Judge Heartstrings. At first, the title brought a flush of embarrassment to his cheeks, as he was a man who preferred his work to speak for itself. However, as the positive impact of his work began to materialize, he wore the moniker with growing pride, recognizing it as a badge of honor that reflected his commitment to the community and the lives he aimed to change. The success of the Whispering Winds recreational facility flourished in tandem with the momentum created by Judge Heartstrings. His connections within the community proved invaluable as they ushered in new resources and support systems for the facility. Meanwhile, Ms. Woolzer, with her unwavering resolve and indomitable spirit, worked tirelessly to galvanize the community and keep the momentum alive. Together, they breathed new life into the once neglected corner of Harmonville, transforming it into a radiant beacon of hope. It became a gathering place where laughter echoed off the walls and where children and adults alike engaged in learning and creative activities. This dynamic partnership not only revitalized a physical space, but also fostered a sense of belonging and unity among the neighborhood's residents. The once muted narratives of struggle began to shift toward themes of aspiration and achievement as individuals embraced the opportunity to turn their lives around. In the heart of Harmonville, laughter and learning intertwined, creating a vibrant tapestry woven from the threads of redemption, resilience, and community spirit. Together, Judge Heartstrings and Ms. Woolzer illuminated the path toward a brighter future for many, encouraging all to dream, to strive, and to reach for something greater. As their friendship deepened amid the trials and tribulations they faced in their community, Ms. Woolzer and Judge McPhelps found their bond strengthened by a shared purpose. They encountered numerous challenges together, each one more daunting than the last. The most pressing of these was the alarming threat of local school closures that loomed over Harmonville like a dark cloud. With determination in their hearts and a vision for a better future, they rolled up their sleeves and worked tirelessly to mobilize community support, reach out to local officials, and secure much-needed funding for essential community programs. Ms. Woolzer's unyielding dedication to her work as a social worker resonated deeply with Judge McPhelps, who had recently experienced a poignant awakening in his view of justice. He learned to see beyond the rigid confines of legal statutes, recognizing that true justice is intimately connected to the lives and stories of the people it impacts. This newfound empathy became a formidable force that fueled their collective efforts, enabling them to present a united front against the challenges they faced. One sunny afternoon, as they sat together in the beautifully renovated courtyard of the community center, a place that buzzed with the laughter of children playing and the vibrant colors of blooming flowers surrounding them, the atmosphere was one of tranquility and hope. It was a stark contrast to the hard work they had put in to achieve this moment. The sun shone warmly on their faces, casting a golden hue over the scene. It was a sanctuary of joy that represented their efforts to create a brighter future for their community. In that serene setting, Judge McPhelps reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a neatly sealed envelope. With a gentle smile, he turned to Ms. Woolzer and said, "This is for you." A small token of appreciation. His tone carried the reverence of someone who truly understood the impact of her work and the sacrifices she had made along the way. As Ms. Woolzer opened the envelope, her heart raced with anticipation. Inside lay an elegant award from the city, formally recognizing her as Harmonville's Outstanding Social Worker of the Year. The citation, adorned with official seals and eloquent words, spoke of her tireless commitment to the community and her unwavering belief in the potential of every individual. Tears of joy welled in her eyes as she read the words that celebrated her dedication, each line reflecting the long hours, the struggles fought, and the lives touched by her efforts. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion, feeling both honored and humbled. Judge McPhelps leaned back on the bench, allowing himself a moment to bask in the beauty of the day and the warmth of their shared accomplishments. The laughter of children played softly in the background, a reminder of the reason they fought so hard. "No, Ms. Woolzer, thank you," he replied, his voice sincere. "You've taught me that justice isn't just about the law, but about the people it serves." His words carried a weight of truth that resonated deeply between them, a testament to the extraordinary partnership forged through adversity and the powerful change they had brought about together in their beloved Harmonville. And so, in the ever-evolving tapestry of Harmonville, the story of Judge McPhelps and Ms. Woolzer became a thread of kindness, weaving together hearts and lives. Their partnership stood as a testament that even in the most unlikely of places, understanding and compassion could blossom.